Ocala Talks. I am your host, Tom Smith, coming to you live from the studios of WOCA Radio just off the runway, Ocala International Airport. Galen Unall is on the phone lines with us. He's joining us every morning, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring. They're a family-owned and operated flooring company serving Marion County for over 30-plus years. They do both commercial and residential. Go see their showroom at 1201 Southwest 17th Street here in Ocala, or give them a call, 352-351-3420. Also, Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offer skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you got any questions about Palm Garden and how they're handling COVID-19, give them a call, 352-854-6262. And, of course, Just Ship. They've flipped the script on shipping. Instead of you packaging up the item you need to ship back, standing in line, wasting your valuable time and money, you just set up an appointment with Just Ship for a small pickup fee. They pick your item up. They package it. They do all the legwork. They do all the time standing in lines. So you not only do you save time, but you save money as well. JustShipped.net for more information. Galen Unall from Life South is on the phone lines with us. Good morning, Galen.
Hey, Tom, how are you today, my man?
Using the back line. I'm in good shape.
Woo! It's a big deal.
Huge. It's going to be huge. As soon as we figure out where this virus comes from, China, it's going to be huge.
There you go.
I miss people picking fun at Donald Trump.
Well, you can't anymore because, he's not on any social media. I saw that the leader of the Taliban is a verified Twitter user, right? He has a verified account.
Yeah. He's
but
fine
Donald
on Twitter.
Trump.
Yeah, no.
Right, but Donald Trump is just,
Stop.
There's no way we can allow him on Twitter.
You're being ridiculous. Donald Trump cannot go anywhere near Twitter.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing that there are pedophile pages on Facebook. And that you can get put in Facebook jail for saying ivermectin might work to clear up COVID-19. I don't know if it does or not, but you can get put in Facebook jail for saying it. But pedophiles have pages on Facebook.
I'm not on any of them, and I'm proud to not be on any of them.
Let me with the troops leaving Afghanistan. The country being taken back over. On Facebook last night, all over social media last night, it's on fire. What's going to happen, a terrorist attack or a civil war in the United States? I think there are people who really believe that there's a civil war on the brink of happening in the United States, Galen. Am I missing something?
No, who are we going to fight?
I know.
I mean, seriously, who are we going to think? First of all, If you talk to the person next to you, even if you don't agree politically, you're not to the point where you're ready to kill.
No.
Right? I mean, this whole thing about all these red states, the center of the country is getting fed up with the left coast and these coastal elites. And they don't interact with them on that level. I do think there's both sides that are just frustrated with the other one. And they're an easy target because there's nothing specific about them, right? You're just making generalities about both of them.
But I don't think we're anywhere near civil war.
Oh, no, there's a long, long way before we get to that point. And what will we fight over? More government? So you're going to form a government to fight against more government? That doesn't make sense.
No. When people put that out there, I'm like, and the thing is, there's got to be people that believe we're on the crux of a civil war, or they wouldn't ask dumb questions like that. And I'm like, we're so far from a civil war in this country that I don't even know how you come up with that.
Well, and again, in order to do that, you have to have massive, right? You have to have a massive military, and I mean, like, at least 100,000 people.
Oh, well, we can go just get that. Now we can go get to be able to stock the military. We just go to Afghanistan and get our planes and all back that we left there.
Yeah, that's. I read that yesterday. I was like, wait a second. They just left behind the Air Force?
Well,
a bad idea.
In Desert Storm, I know a bunch of my buddies that were at Fort Stewart, the 24th Mechanized at the time. Now it's the 4th Infantry, but it was
Sure.
at the time it was 24th
Sure.
Mechanized. And when they went over to Desert Storm, I go, God, man, they shipped y'all over there, your Bradleys over there and everything. They didn't ship our Bradleys over there. We got over there, there were brand new Bradleys in the desert. We left our Bradleys here at Fort Stewart. We got there, we had brand new equipment. I go, well, what'd you do when you got done? They go, got out of our equipment, got back on transport planes, and come back home. I go, what happened to the equipment? I have no idea what happened to the equipment.
Yeah, they systematically dismantled them. But, and they just turned it back over to the contractor. I remember that. I think that's what they're going to do in Afghanistan. But and that's what that force was supposed to be protecting, right? That's why all those American contractors are.
Somebody says there's so many planes in Afghanistan, and I haven't had this fact checked yet, so Facebook fact checkers, calm down. But that Afghanistan now, the Taliban now, if they knew how to fly them, would have the 5th or 6th largest air force in the world right now?
Yeah, I mean, but that's if you look at who has an air force of any size, there aren't that many.
Well, there's the U.S.
There aren't that.
There's the U.S., there's China, and there's England, and that's it, with sizable ones. Russia, yeah.
And then it depends on what
Israel has an air force, but it's not like the largest air force in the world.
No. What I mean by that is, do you lump Canada in there and Australia in there, or are they separated? But so it's not very difficult to be fit because France is very small. Japan's is non-existent. There's just not a lot. That doesn't say a lot.
And they have to know how to fly them too. The goat herders need to know how to fly them too.
More than that. It's more than that. You have to know how to maintain them. You have to know how to. Those things break down. The number of moving parts. Living in the desert, they're not going to last long.
Well, but Joe threatened to, if you could take up arms against the United States, you better have you some planes and tanks. Well, now there's some rednecks named Bubba and Earl that could go over there to the Taliban and say, hey, we got a couple rusted out Cadillacs. We got a couple cases of beer. And look, you give us that yak skin, we'll trade you out some Red Man, and we got a deal on these planes.
Well, according to January 6th, we took over the Capitol with no weapons.
With no weapons, yeah.
And that was worse than 9/11, and there was no weapons.
Yeah.
So, I think we're a long way away from a civil war. But, I'm all for less government, and the good news is the federal government just became a lot weaker because of that. Now, it may be at U.S. citizens' expense, but at least they're weaker.
How close are we to something that I thought I would never see again in U.S. history, but I think we could possibly see it. How close are we to somebody's blood boiling over and you having a case where Representative Sumter caned a man on the House floor in the 1820s? How close do you think we are to maybe some fisticuffs between ideologies and tough guys or tough women on the floor of the House? How close do you think we are to that happening?
Well, a long way, because these politicians know the second that happens, they can no longer get paid. You've got being a congressman and being in federal office now is all about money grabbing. Nowhere else do you go in dead broke, right?
And come out a multimillionaire.
Correct. And just look at Ocasio-Cortez. She was dead broke. Now she's about to buy her third house. You know what I mean? And
on $175,000 a year.
Yeah, and she couldn't even afford. If you remember,
she was an out-of-work bartender. She was out-of-work bartender.
So again, it's you look at Pelosi and how rich not only Pelosi has become, but her husband, her children. They're all loaded. Mitch McConnell, all of them.
Yeah,
and again,
that's the thing. That's the thing. When you start talking about Pelosi and people say, and look at Maxine Waters, how much money she's got. And I say, yeah, well, look at Rand Paul, how much money he's got. Look at Mitch McConnell, how much money he's got. Look at Lindsey Graham, how much money he's got. Both sides are making money. Both sides are making a hell of a lot of money in Washington.
Did you see that Rand Paul's wife invested in, and I can't remember their names, but one of the leading antiviral drugs that helped stop coronavirus a month before the pandemic. So she invested in it in early February.
Oh,
but that didn't get a word. Again, they're just and power corrupts all, right? And so they're just stretching for that power.
He was right when he said he needed to drain.
None of them, drain the swamp.
Yeah.
But again, none of them want to do anything other than to stay in power. Any of them, right? Because if they and by the way, they just gave all of the handlers and the aides a huge raise. I don't know if anybody saw that. They had a cap on how much they could make, right? So now they raised the cap, and it's not quite $200,000 a year, but it's right there. And so somebody like Mitch McConnell has like 12 aides.
And they're all getting paid. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, all of them are making over $100,000. So yeah. Don't think that any of these politicians truly care about you. I love the ad that's on here before I come on from Kat, right? Just a small town girl who's trying to make it in the big city of D.C. Well, we'll see where she's at in 8 years when she's on her third election, and all of a sudden she went from a double wide to a 5,000 square foot home.
Well, I will tell you this. She made the same commitment that Ted Yoho made, that she would only serve 2 terms and then come back to Gainesville.
Okay, and Ted Yoho, the only reason he left is because he got voted out. And he lost all his political funding, and he was a terrible politician.
So, I know that when you go to Washington, even if you're Mr. Smith, even if you're Mr. Smith, when you go to Washington, Washington corrupts even Mr. Smith.
Absolutely, and that's why I want there to be double the amount of representatives, triple it, reduce their power. I
will tell you this. Just a good little joke came to me. Mr. Smith goes to Washington. It disturbed him so bad, he ended up having a fake rabbit named Harvey that became his best friend.
There you go. Right.
By the way, Harvey, my favorite Jimmy Stewart movie. Just so you know, it's my favorite Jimmy Stewart movie. And he talks to an imaginary rabbit the whole time. No, I'm saying just my favorite Jimmy Stewart movie. It's maybe not yours, maybe not even the best Jimmy Stewart movie. Probably The Man That Shot Liberty Valance is one of the best Jimmy Stewart movies. North by Northwest, a good movie. Well, I think that was Cary Grant, but the Rear Window was Jimmy Stewart with Alfred Hitchcock. But I like Harvey. I like it reminds me of my college days when I too talked to imaginary people, but it was because I may have ingested things that made me talk to imaginary people. I don't know.
There you go.
You never know when I was in college. You never, ever know. Right. Hey, let me ask you this, though. 9/11, the remembrance of 9/11. People say, oh, we celebrate 9/11. No, we don't celebrate 9/11. We remember 9/11. You don't celebrate almost 4,000 people dying at the hands of terrorists. It's not a celebration. It's a remembrance. So let's get that right. But with the remembrance of 9/11 coming up, and now with the Taliban firmly back in charge in Afghanistan, I think that we need to start showing 9/11 on TV every night to remind people this is what happens. We need to start being vigilant again, because this is what happens when you have somebody like the Taliban that's in charge somewhere in the world. These kind of things happen.
All right, let me ask you this. And this is an honest question.
Certainly.
How would you have, and if I know we need to take a break so you can think about it, but how would you stop 9/11 today? How would you stop 9/11 today?
All right, I will give you my answer after this timeout. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Tuesday. He asked me, how would I stop 9/11 today? That's a very good question, Galen. I think that Homeland Security does a very good job now with, violating people's civil liberties on the regular to listen in on conversations and everything. And by the way, somebody goes, do you mind their civil liberty? If you're a terrorist, I don't mind your civil liberties being violated. But what if they listen on your phone calls? I'm not a terrorist listening on my phone calls. I don't care. I know some people don't like that, but I don't care. I'm not a terrorist. Listen all you want on my phone calls. You do already, and I'll tell you why in a moment. I'll tell you how I know for a fact they do already long before 9/11. But I would also hurt feelings of people that are supposed, allies of ours. I would immediately cut off any kind of travel. If anything originates in Saudi Arabia, you're not coming into this country. You're just not doing it. Not doing it.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Well, you realize that is not possible, right?
Well, I know. But
we have massive. Well, then no. So if we're gonna have this discussion, you're gonna have to be semi-rational because you just said you couldn't do that. There's no way you can cut off travel from Saudi Arabia.
No, because they would cut off oil. They would cut off oil. I know.
Right. Okay. So, it's a lot more than oil. We have businesses there. We have functions there. We have a relationship.
We have to get tougher. We do have to get tougher though with our relationship with Saudi Arabia because I think we give Saudi Arabia a pass because they're our oil ally, and we have evidence that some of the princes of Saudi Arabia fund terrorism that goes against the United States, and the fact that we don't call Saudi Arabia to the carpet for that, I think is a problem.
Okay, a couple of things. One, the reason we support Saudi Arabia is because we need more allies in the Middle East, not less.
I know.
We don't need fewer.
Same reason why we tried to support Syria for a while.
How does no, that was a little different. But how do you stop 9/11? How do you stop it? How do you stop another 9/11 when you have 6 fanatics who do you go to all the airports and say, do you have anybody here training who's of Middle Eastern descent? How do you stop 9/11?
I don't know that there's an answer to that, and I know that's what you're going at. I know that's what you're getting at. I know that I don't think there's an answer, but you can be more vigilant in the things you do to hopefully catch plots like 9/11 before they happen.
So this is what you want. And again, I believe this in my very bones. Anytime we give up our own freedoms for the guise of safety and security, we lose as a society. So what you want is more government overreach. You want more activity from the NSA. You want longer lines of security of all mass transportation. Right? What you want is more government authority in our lives for the guise of safety.
What I want is to make sure that Americans no longer die
At
because
what cost? At what cost?
Because people have no understanding. They don't care about life. They're
Correct.
They're here to destroy the infidels.
Correct. They were fanatical.
Yes.
Right? By the definition, they were fanatical.
By definition.
There was nothing we could have done. And again, this whole thing, there was nothing that could be done.
Well, the fact that a lot of these guys, when they went to these flight schools, and I read almost that won a Pulitzer, the writing about it down in Port Charlotte and everything, where Buddy Martin was at the newspaper at the time. The fact that these guys, they wanted to learn how to fly the plane once it was in flight. They really didn't care. They told the schools, not so much takeoff and landing. We want to learn how to fly in the air. That should have been a red flag for somebody.
Why? People are silly, man, and you're just trying to make a living. So what you want is more government in our lives. You want Big Daddy to watch everything we do.
I don't want
living free. Do we agree to that?
Oh,
There's
yes.
a cost of being free.
Freedom is not free. 100%.
Okay. But you're willing to give up that freedom so that NSA can listen to your phone calls. We talked earlier about how we didn't like, we think it's a joke that Twitter allows the Taliban leader on, but not Donald Trump. So what you're asking for is what China's doing now, where they listen to every single phone call, and they are putting everybody on a citizen-type character ability. So if you and I are having this conversation on the phone and the NSA doesn't like it, they can prevent us from buying food. Maybe they say, you know what? I don't agree with your beliefs. You can't even own a car because your car, as we've seen in France and all over the world,
I understand what
can
you're
be
saying.
turned into a weapon of mass destruction.
I understand
So
what you're
where does
saying.
it end?
I understand
Where
what
does
you're
it
saying.
end?
I understand what you're saying. But if you think for 1 second they weren't already massively listening long before 9/11, and we got to go to break. We're up against a hard break. But I'll come back and tell you a story about 1996, the fall of 96 and the winter of 97, where I was the benefactor of a phone call that there's no way anybody should have made that phone call to me unless they were listening and knew things. I'll tell you about that because that's when I realized, that's when I had a Galen moment and realized maybe the government knows way too much about us. So, and this was long before 9/11.
You want to give them, you don't want to give them more power.
This is long before 9/11. What I'm going to tell you about after the break,
and that makes it right too. That doesn't make it right.
No, we're not talking about right or wrong. You asked me what would I be willing to do to make sure that I never saw two towers fall again. I would be doing a lot of covert operations where I would stealthily with black teams and everything take out people throughout the world who, as American leaders, I would deem dangerous to America. I got no problem with them. They're sitting in a cafe in France. Boom, bullet to the head. Sorry about your luck. I got no problem with that either. We'll talk more about this when we come back. You listen to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Today in Ag News, I'm a Southeast AgNet with Tropical Storm Fred affecting areas of Florida. USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service wants to remind landowners the Emergency Watershed Protection Program, or EWP,
especially
may
for
be able
women.
to help
These
you
are
if your
bitter
area
events.
suffered damage from this or
Tropical
any
Storm
other
Grace
storms
swept over
during this
Haiti with
hurricane
drenching
season.
rains
The
after a
program can
powerful
relieve
earthquake
imminent
battered the
hazards to
Caribbean
life and
nation over
property
the
caused by
weekend. The death
floods.
toll from the earthquake is just over 1,400. Officials have warned the tropical storm could gain strength as it passes between Cuba and Jamaica on Tuesday. A woman identified as JC has sued folk singer-writer Bob Dylan. Allegedly, he sexually abused her for 6 weeks back in 1965 when she was 12 years old. The civil lawsuit was filed Friday with the New York Supreme Court. A spokesman for Dylan, now 80 years old, says the allegations were false. The 56-year-old claim is untrue and will be vigorously defended. USA Radio News.
Right now, millions of Americans have an uneasy feeling about the future. That's why they're quietly stockpiling as much emergency food as they can. What about you? Do you have enough emergency food to get you through a prolonged crisis? If not, take a moment to shop My Patriot Supply. We're America's leader in emergency preparedness and survival. Since 2008, we've served several million American families like yours. In fact, our mission is your survival. So head on over to MyPatriotSupply.com and grab a few of our tasty emergency food kits. Our food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage and is shipped quickly and discreetly to your door. One day, you might be eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner while everyone else is standing in a food line. Avoid that. It's too late to act once the other shoe drops. It's time to be self-reliant and prepared, and now you can. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Gene Powell, past Des Moines, 352